99% of people over 60 don't know. These 5 foods are weakening your legs. By age 60, many adults have already lost up to 15% of their leg muscle mass, according to the National Institute on Aging. And by 70, that number can double, especially without key changes in daily habits. Surprisingly, several common foods may be accelerating this decline. They weaken leg muscles by disrupting blood flow, triggering inflammation, or reducing nutrient absorption, without pain, injury, or diagnosis. In this video, we'll review 5 widely consumed foods that studies have linked to leg weakness in older adults. You'll also learn which healthier choices can help maintain strength and mobility. If your legs feel heavier, slower, or less stable than they used to, this might not just be aging. It could be something you're eating every day. Refined carbohydrates, white bread, pasta, instant noodles, white rice. Refined carbohydrates, like white bread, pasta, instant noodles, and white rice, are common staples, especially among older adults who prefer soft, easy-to-chew foods. But these familiar choices may gradually weaken the legs without any pain or warning signs. These foods are high on the glycemic index, meaning they raise blood sugar rapidly. This causes frequent insulin spikes, which can lead to chronic, low-grade inflammation, a known factor in the gradual breakdown of muscle tissue, particularly in the lower limbs. A 2020 study in the Journal of Cachexia, Sarcopenia, and Muscle found that diets rich in refined carbs were strongly linked to muscle loss in older adults. The legs, being the largest and most active muscles, are often affected first. Some foods appear healthier than they are. Cornflakes, sweetened instant oatmeal, and low-fat white bread may seem harmless, but lack the fiber and nutrients needed to support leg strength. When eaten regularly, they provide energy, but little muscular benefit. Over time, relying on these foods displaces better options. A breakfast of toast and jam instead of oats, or a lunch with noodles instead of beans and vegetables, means the muscles don't receive the steady protein and complex carbohydrates they need. Consider a typical day: white toast in the morning, rice porridge at lunch, and pasta for dinner. These choices are easy, but they offer minimal resistance to age-related muscle decline, especially when no other sources of fiber, magnesium, or B vitamins are included. To reduce impact, replace refined carbs with whole grain alternatives. Brown rice, steel-cut oats, barley, and 100% whole wheat bread provide slower burning energy and preserve muscle through better blood sugar control and improved nutrient delivery. Even one substitution a day can make a measurable difference. Research has shown that swapping one serving of refined grain for a whole grain may reduce inflammatory markers and help maintain lean mass in older adults. If white carbs are still central in most of your meals, a gradual shift may help restore balance. These small dietary changes can offer real support to the legs, day after day. But while refined grains affect muscle from the inside, there are other ingredients that weaken the legs by damaging what carries blood and oxygen to them. And that damage is often invisible, until it's too late. Trans fats, found in baked goods, fried snacks, margarine. Trans fats, also known as partially hydrogenated oils, are among the most damaging fats in the modern food supply, particularly for older adults. While often discussed in relation to heart disease, few realize that trans fats can also directly weaken leg muscles by impairing circulation, increasing inflammation, and interfering with nutrient delivery. When consumed, trans fats alter the structure of cell membranes, making them more rigid and less efficient at transporting nutrients. This change particularly affects vascular cells, which line the arteries and capillaries. Over time, this leads to reduced blood flow, especially to the extremities, including the legs. Leg muscles depend on continuous oxygen and nutrient delivery to maintain strength and recover from daily use. Trans fats compromise this process by narrowing vessels and reducing nitric oxide, a compound that helps blood vessels relax. The result? Slower circulation, increased fatigue, and a higher risk of muscle atrophy in the lower body. Research from the Harvard T.H. Chan School of Public Health has consistently linked trans fat consumption to elevated levels of C-reactive protein, CRP, a marker of chronic systemic inflammation. Inflammation not only affects the joints, but also leads to catabolic effects on muscle fibers, particularly in the legs where movement and weight-bearing are constant. Even though the FDA has largely banned trans fats from processed foods in the U.S. since 2020, they can still be present in imported products and older shelf-stable items. Moreover, many ultra-processed foods that remain legal can still contain trace amounts under 0.5 grams per serving, enough to build up over time. Trans fats are commonly found in pre-packaged baked goods, frozen pies, margarine sticks, non-dairy creamers, microwave popcorn, and fried fast foods. These items are often favored for their long shelf life and texture, but provide no benefit to muscular health and may, in fact, hasten functional decline in the legs. Unlike natural fats such as olive oil or omega-3s, which support healthy aging, trans fats promote endothelial damage and oxidative stress. This combination reduces the leg's ability to recover from everyday activity, increasing the risk of frailty and impaired balance, even in those without obvious disease. Label reading becomes critical. Any product that lists partially hydrogenated oil should be avoided entirely. Even when the label says 0 grams trans fat, the FDA allows rounding down if the amount per serving is less than 0.5 grams, making it possible for daily intake to exceed safe limits without consumers realizing. Health authorities now agree. There is no safe level of trans fat intake, especially for older adults. Eliminating them completely is one of the most effective dietary changes to support long-term mobility, leg strength, and independence. But circulation isn't the only system involved in leg decline. Another common dietary ingredient can also disrupt muscle function by interfering with the body's mineral balance in ways that often go unnoticed. Excess sodium, processed soups, frozen meals, soy sauce, canned broth. Sodium is essential for nerve and muscle function, but in excessive amounts it can quietly undermine leg strength, especially in adults over 60. While most people associate high sodium intake with blood pressure, its impact on muscle efficiency, mineral balance, and joint stability is just as critical. Older adults often consume well beyond the recommended 1,500 to 2,300 mg of sodium per day, largely due to processed and packaged foods. According to the CDC, over 70% of sodium in the American diet comes from prepared products, not the salt shaker. This includes canned soups, deli meats, frozen meals, snack chips, and sauces like soy sauce and bottled dressings. Excess sodium leads to fluid retention, which places increased pressure on the cardiovascular system. In the legs, this often manifests as swelling, heaviness, and reduced mobility. Over time, these symptoms contribute to decreased muscle use, leading to atrophy of leg muscles, especially in those who are already sedentary. Beyond fluid retention, high sodium intake disrupts the delicate balance between sodium, potassium, magnesium, and calcium, electrolytes that coordinate muscle contractions. When this balance is off, the risk of cramping, muscle fatigue, and loss of strength increases, even in people with no underlying medical conditions. A study published in the American Journal of Clinical Nutrition found that adults with sodium to potassium ratios above recommended thresholds had significantly poorer physical performance scores, including walking speed and lower body strength. Sodium also plays a hidden role in weakening connective tissues. Excess intake can increase systemic inflammation, which can affect not only blood vessels but also joints and tendons, particularly in the knees and ankles. This combination of weaker muscles and inflamed joints makes stability more difficult and raises fall risk. Many low-fat or healthy processed foods are misleadingly high in sodium. A single serving of canned soup can exceed 800 mg, and frozen dinners can reach over 200 mg, often without tasting overly salty. Even seemingly benign products like vegetable juice or cottage cheese can contribute significantly. To reduce sodium-related strain on the legs, older adults can focus on fresh, whole foods and choose low-sodium alternatives when possible. Cooking at home using herbs, garlic, and citrus for flavor instead of salt can dramatically cut daily sodium intake. Reading labels for sodium, salt, monosodium glutamate, and baking soda can also help avoid hidden sources. For those using table salt regularly, even a modest reduction, such as removing 1/4 teaspoon per day, can lower sodium intake by roughly 575 mg. Over time, this adjustment supports better blood pressure control, improved hydration balance, and more stable leg function. Importantly, sodium doesn't act alone. Its impact is magnified when paired with low potassium intake, dehydration, and a lack of muscle-supportive nutrients. Managing sodium is just one part of preserving strength, but it is a key one, often overlooked. Yet not all threats to the legs come from what you eat with a fork. Some are found in what you drink, especially when sweetness masks the damage being done underneath. Sugary beverages, soda, bottled iced tea, flavored water, juice boxes. Sugary beverages are among the most widely consumed sources of added sugar in older adults' diets. While they're often marketed as refreshing or energizing, their impact on leg strength and muscle health is far from harmless, especially after age 60. These drinks, which include sodas, sweetened teas, flavored waters, and shelf-stable juice boxes, contain rapidly absorbable sugars that spike blood glucose and insulin levels within minutes. This repeated metabolic stress may contribute not just to diabetes, but also to sarcopenia, the age-related loss of muscle mass and function. When blood sugar surges become a daily occurrence, the body shifts into a pro-inflammatory state. Over time, this damages blood vessels, impairs protein synthesis, and increases oxidative stress. These factors collectively slow the repair and growth of muscle fibers, especially in the legs, where strength and endurance are most needed for mobility. In a large cohort study published in the American Journal of Clinical Nutrition, older adults who consumed sugary beverages daily were more likely to report reduced walking speed, poor balance, and difficulty climbing stairs. These issues were not explained by calorie intake alone, but by metabolic disruption specific to liquid sugar. the problem isn't just in quantity, but in how the body absorbs liquid sugar differently from solid carbohydrates. Unlike sugar bound in whole fruits or grains, liquid sugar is absorbed too quickly, without triggering satiety or digestive slowdown. This not only encourages overconsumption, but also makes it harder for muscles to regulate glucose uptake effectively. The cumulative effect over months or years is gradual, but very real. The legs begin to feel heavier, slower, and less responsive. Recovery after walks or stair use takes longer. And without resistance exercise to counterbalance these effects, muscle fibers continue to shrink in both size and number. Take the example of Robert, 74, who routinely drank 2 bottles of sweetened green tea each day, thinking it was a healthy option. Despite eating reasonably well, he noticed increasing fatigue when walking short distances. After reviewing his beverage choices and replacing them with unsweetened herbal tea and water, his stamina gradually returned. Sugar-sweetened drinks can also leach essential nutrients from the body, particularly magnesium, which is vital for muscle contraction and energy metabolism. Low magnesium levels have been associated with muscle cramps, weakness, and lower leg strength in older adults. To reduce these risks, it's advisable to avoid any beverages with added sugars listed on the label, including cane sugar, high fructose corn syrup, dextrose, or fruit juice concentrate. Instead, choose unsweetened beverages like herbal teas, infused water, or sparkling water without artificial sweeteners. If a gradual transition is needed, begin by diluting juice with water or switching from soda to carbonated water with a splash of lemon. These small, sustainable steps reduce sugar exposure without relying on extreme dietary changes that can be hard to maintain. For older adults aiming to preserve strength and independence, cutting out sugary beverages is one of the simplest yet most powerful changes. Not only does it support muscle health, but it also improves hydration, reduces inflammation, and helps stabilize energy levels throughout the day. Still, sugar isn't the only ingredient silently affecting leg strength. Some substances can interfere with the body's ability to absorb key nutrients for muscle maintenance, and they often appear in forms that seem perfectly normal at first glance. Alcohol, even small daily amounts. Alcohol is often viewed as a moderate indulgence, particularly in older adulthood. A glass of wine at dinner or a beer on the weekend is widely considered harmless. But mounting evidence suggests that even low levels of regular alcohol intake can subtly impair muscle preservation, especially in the legs. As the body ages, its capacity to metabolize alcohol diminishes. The same amount that had minimal effect in younger years can now disrupt nutrient absorption, impair hormonal balance, and increase oxidative stress, all of which contribute to muscle degradation. The legs, requiring the most metabolic support for walking, balance, and posture, are especially vulnerable. One of the key issues is that alcohol interferes with muscle protein synthesis, MPS, the biological process through which muscle is built and maintained. Even occasional intake can blunt MPS by suppressing anabolic hormones and activating catabolic pathways, resulting in gradual muscle loss if no counteracting measures are taken. Studies have shown that alcohol can reduce levels of testosterone and growth hormone, both essential for muscle preservation in older adults. In addition, it increases the release of cortisol, a stress hormone linked to muscle breakdown, particularly in the lower body. Alcohol also impairs absorption and utilization of key micronutrients, such as vitamin D, magnesium, and B12. These nutrients play vital roles in muscle contraction, coordination, and neuromuscular signaling. Chronic deficiency, even at a subclinical level, can lead to reduced leg strength, cramping, and balance disturbances. Another lesser-known consequence of alcohol is its diuretic effect. By promoting fluid loss, it increases the risk of dehydration, a condition that directly affects muscle endurance and performance. Dehydrated muscle fibers are more prone to injury, fatigue faster, and recover more slowly. In a review published in the Journal of Nutrition, Health and Aging, older adults who consumed alcohol regularly, even within socially acceptable limits, had significantly lower muscle mass and leg strength compared to non-drinkers. Importantly, these effects were independent of diet quality or exercise levels. Compounding the problem is that alcohol often displaces more beneficial fluids or nutrients. A glass of wine may replace a glass of water, or a cocktail might reduce appetite for a protein-rich meal. Over time, this results in missed opportunities for muscle maintenance, particularly if the diet is already marginal in key nutrients. There is no universally safe threshold for alcohol intake in relation to muscle preservation. Health authorities recommend older adults limit or eliminate alcohol not because of morality or lifestyle judgment, but because the physiological margin for error narrows significantly with age. Those seeking to protect their leg strength and independence should critically evaluate their drinking habits. Even cutting back from daily to occasional intake can reduce metabolic burden and allow for better muscle recovery and nutrient absorption. While alcohol's effects are gradual and not always obvious, they can have real consequences over time. And when combined with other dietary factors, the risks become more than additive. They become cumulative. Some substances degrade strength by what they take away, others by what they block. And in the case of alcohol, it's often both, reducing what the body can absorb and undermining what it's trying to build. Leg weakness in older adults is not an unavoidable part of aging. It is often the result of small, cumulative dietary choices made every day. This video has highlighted 5 common food and beverage categories that, while familiar and widely consumed, may quietly contribute to declining leg strength over time. Refined carbohydrates, trans fats, excess sodium, sugary beverages, and even small amounts of alcohol each impact the body through different mechanisms. They may impair circulation, promote inflammation, block nutrient absorption, or interfere with muscle protein synthesis, all of which are essential to maintaining mobility and stability after age 60. The good news is that each of these factors is modifiable. Replacing refined carbs with whole grains, removing trans fats by checking ingredient labels, choosing low-sodium options, eliminating sugary drinks, and limiting alcohol can all support better muscle health without requiring drastic lifestyle changes. These adjustments are not about restriction, they're about preservation. The goal is not to eliminate enjoyment from meals, but to ensure that what you consume works in favor of your strength and independence, not against it. At Health 1900s, we focus on clear, science-backed guidance tailored to the real needs of those born in the 20th century. If you found this information helpful, consider subscribing to our channel to stay informed on the most practical and relevant health strategies for your generation. Simple changes today can support stronger legs tomorrow and help you stay steady, active, and independent for years to come. Disclaimer: This video is for educational purposes only. It does not constitute medical advice, diagnosis, or treatment. Always consult with a qualified healthcare professional before making changes to your diet, medication, or exercise routine.